Good morning or good evening, everyone, and welcome to the campus with Ali Cook Marketing and PHMC Group. And today, a very strong topic: CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management, and engaging your audience in social media. Good evening, Ali. How are you?
Good evening, Phil, and welcome from New Zealand to I think this is our third or our fourth webcast in a row. So what we're doing is we're opening them up. They're free to take part in, and then they get locked off after the show, and you can go to the PHMC campus, and you'll be able to watch all of them there for a simple $10. $10, you can watch as many as you like all of the time. So we're building it up like a big knowledge base of all of the subjects, and looking forward to this one today, which is sort of quite broad and quite big, actually. The other subjects have been more kind of narrow segments of marketing, where this is a more broad look at customer relationship management and engaging people in social media.
Absolutely, and customer relationship management is one of the fundamental of marketing. And some think that this is a brand new topic, a brand new notion, but this is a very old notion. And even our granddads and in their organization and companies used to, without knowing that it was customer relationship management, used to practice such of this fundamental. So now with social media and the brand new tools of the 21st century, customer relationship have got a different approach and a different meaning, but on the at the end this is pretty the same. So what is according to your experience, Ellie? What is the versatile things that in engaging in social media, and how you listen to the voice of your customers, of your audience in general?
Yeah, well, I think basically, again, it is that social media is actually a tool and part of your customer relationship management, because, of course, your customers are those people with, as a musician, they would be those people that buy your music. And so, you're relating to them and on many levels. You're keeping them happy with the music, that they like your brand of music. They're seeing you live, um, and taking part, and also engaging them in social media. And I think social media is a great way to get customer related feedback, actually, that you might not have got when you went and played at a live gig. Everybody came and saw you and they listened to your songs, and then they left and they might not have spoken to you. But on social media, I think the customer relationship feedback that you can get is so much more stronger, because they're there, they watch the video and they either like it or they don't, or they comment on it. So you kind of like, it's easier in that respect, from a music standpoint anyway.
That's absolutely important, because you said something strong. We have an immediate feedback, and we can manage this relation with the customer, with the audience immediately, pretty in real time, because as soon as we're posting something, we have a feedback. We have a feedback, and the way is to answer immediately and to really engage. And the engagement is probably the step beyond that. As soon as somebody's posting and the audience reacting, and that's the goal of social media. Some have not really understood that, but that's the real goal, that exchanging in a dialogue, in a very constructive dialogue, and then naturally the customer relationship management and marketing is going on. And that's the way. I was reacting yesterday about the a post of a very famous speaker and book writer from the US, who was posting that it's time now to go from profitability of transaction to profitability of customer experience. That's right. He's fully right. This guy is fully right. But again, we're back to the future and nothing new, because the fundamental of customer relationship management, then engaging in social media or whatever the channel, uh, this is one of the fundamental. For sure, we need to go from profitability of one-shot or multi-shot transaction to the profitability of relation. Because as soon as we create this engagement, sorry, we need to entertain, first of all, this relationship, and this is hard stuff and the long stuff to go, because if this is not immediate, that as soon as you have created the strongest part of the customer relationship, then you're ready to engage. What about the this engagement, about your various activity, about your work of singer-songwriter and alley cook marketing? Because sometimes it's easy for you probably to join the two.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's quite interesting because it's that whole left brain, right brain thing with me being a marketer as well as being a musician. So, I mean, I do have the chance to join two together, in that I do meet a lot of independent artists, and I guess I'm getting more and more of that kind of work now, helping people because they're looking at me and going, "Oh, she's done that," and that was my point of this week. Anyone would see that was actually on my Facebook page that. I've engaged a large company, one of New Zealand's largest companies, Air New Zealand, and this is my second promotion with Air New Zealand now. And really, one of the things, apart from it's just great that you know, I get to have a fantastic trip and I get to meet some people and have a great experience. That has meant that my website and the websites of those participating companies have all of a sudden expanded into Air New Zealand's Gold Elite customer database, you know, tens of thousands of people, over 10,000 people, and means that it's exposure to them, but also it is showing, you know, other artists through my marketing. It's showing other artists that, hey, you can do it. You know, you can actually be an independent, and you can actually pull something like this off, and that you know, that's good for me, the alley cook marketing side, to be showing people watching the alley cook artist side that it is actually possible. And it's quite interesting. This week I went and commented on Richard Branson's launched this thing called I think it's called Distraction, or yeah, it's on the Virgin site anyway. Disruption it's called, and they've just launched it, and it's about you know, disruption. They're asking, has tech killed the music industry? And of course I couldn't help myself. I had to go post on the on Richard Branson's site and go, well, no, tech has not killed the music industry. It's just changed the way it works. And actually, for us, the independent artists who aren't signed to the major record companies, now is the best time ever, because all of a sudden those big multinationals have to a certain extent lost their fist hold on every bit of public activity that an artist could get. Before the advent of the internet, I doubt very much that an independent artist would have been able to get a contract with a company like Air New Zealand and a promotion. That would have only been reserved for major record company artists only. And so it's breaking new ground. And I think that there's going to be a lot of new ground broken with artists that do through cross marketing, and the more they learn about this, they're going to find that they can hook themselves in with companies to get themselves known, you know, to get their message out there, to grow their database. And so, yeah, I think certainly the crossing of the two is working for me. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. To be extremely clear and to clarify the notion, for sure, customer relationship management, the first step before engaging, may cost a lot of time, so a lot of money, because time is money, and as soon as you're doing that, you're not doing other things. But to be extremely crystal clear for musicians, for artists and singer-songwriter, do you think that the time you're spending, and each time someone is posting and responding in your post, do you think this is the only way to, responding, this is the only way to really prepare a very safe engagement to your audience? Because we can think that dealing with in business to business is easier because you have less customer, but a very big audience of business to customers, to consumers, action is maybe considered as greater and larger than you need to engage and to engage and to engage and to respond and to respond, so a lot of time. But do you think that is it really possible to, and how to organize this first step of customer relationship management to be sure that everyone will get an answer? An answer could mean simply, hello, thanks for liking my video or my latest thing. What do you think about this time and how you can engage them?
Okay, that's a really an interesting point, and I think all the time the machine of Facebook itself is actually changing. I've just been, funny enough, experimenting with something else, but I always try to we like each other's posts, and what I have is a number of profiles. So I experiment with those profiles because you may see me sometimes go like, and every Ellie Cook profile will like it because I'm actually seeing how it reacts in the feed. So I then go back and look at all the feeds and see. Now I just went through, I took one Ellie Cook and I went over to another profile and I liked all of my photos and videos back through the years, and bang, activity all over those photos. And so that's sort of something you can do, is actually go to the photos on your page and just go through and hit the likes on them. And even if they were a photo you posted a long time ago or a video you posted a long time ago, it'll bring them up into the feeds. The more likes and the more comments, the better. So you go, thank you very much for sharing my thing. And they'll go, that's okay, how are you today? And there's another comment and there's another like, and you like their comment and then you comment back and you get another profile, and I'll answer it on one profile and I'll flick out, get on another profile and come back and answer it on another profile, so that it is actually, because Mr. Facebook doesn't know they're all the same person. So if I answer them on different profiles, it's actually creating more likes and on that thread. So it's forcing that thread out into the news feeds of more people. So because good old Facebook at the moment wants you to pay to get in those news feeds. That's what they've done to people. So there are ways around it, which I'm trying to work out. So you definitely you need to respond back. That's customer engagement, but it's also working the system as well to make sure that you're visible, because visibility means that you can reach those customers, because they go, oh look, there's a photo that Ellie posted 2 years ago. Gosh, she looks gorgeous in that, or she looks terrible in that photo, or whatever. And they might comment on it, and bang, it brings it back up. Then all of the people that originally commented or have commented on it, they all see that Jack Jones commented on the photo that I commented on. And I'm like, what Ellie Cook photo did I comment on? And of course, you've commented on it like a year ago, but it's going to show in your feed because someone else just commented on it. So it's about getting that activity going on each post and making it a little bit viral. And then you keep in contact. What happens then? You're dragging people up that might not have liked something of yours or commented on it for a while, but you're dragging those people back in again. And that's about engaging them, and that's customer engagement in social media. It's like, just reminding them, oh, yeah, Sally's out there. Oh, that's right, yeah, and then they might come and look at your wall and go, oh, look, she's got a new album out with her new band, the Sou'westers. I didn't know that. Because they haven't seen it in their feed, because they've not checked your wall, but then they checked their feed because you made a photograph from a couple of years ago appear in their feed. So, I'm just sort of looking, you've got to keep your eye on the ball, because Facebook changes the goalposts, because it is, after all, a money-making adventure. Mr. Facebook, Mr. Zuckerberg's out there to get money out of you now, for something that he probably spent a lot of time developing,
Sure. And this is extremely important again, because the having a kind of album or profile or whatever the tool, and everyone can choose the one he wants on the on social media. But the time capsule. So going back to, and this is kind of a real genuine back to the future, just bringing some old photos, videos to re-update and say, hey, do you remember? This is extremely important to create this relation to, and say, that was 2 years ago, this is now. And then there's a kind of identification of what happened at this time and what's brand new now.
Yeah.
Another topic is a very important one about the customer relationship management and then engaging. I've been told a few months ago by a brand new marketer, a young guy, saying that, oh, you're using emailing. This is the granddad and old-fashioned tool. Or I'm sure it's not that he was believing that. And you have issued, and you're issuing every month a newsletter about Ali Cook and all your activities in the music industry, in the marketing industry, and so. What could be to make the attendees really understand what could be the link between email marketing, social media, your website, and your concrete action on the ground? What is the link and how you manage this customer relationship through the emailing and the monthly newsletter you're issuing?
Yeah, well, I think, it's quite interesting because the new generation now, email is a thing of the past, but there's still something to be said for building a good email database. And especially when you've got an email program, like if you're using MailChimp or whatever, that is also going to your social media as well. But there's a lot of people who are quite busy, and I would use that. I would send it out to press people as well. So once a month I send out a newsletter to press people that will have the interviews that I've conducted, it will have the album for sale and where to get it. So it's sort of like a multi-purpose newsletter, and quite often I'll get someone come out of that on the media database that I've built and going, oh, I want to do a story about, the Sou'westers, or can I interview Dean Hetherington on the Sou'westers, or I want to do a story on that, or hey, I'd like the album for review. Or nearly every time I send out that email, I will get some sort of media back, and then that media that then is created from then becomes subject matter of the next newsletter. So I always, like, for instance, I have a SoundCloud channel which is just straight radio interviews that I do, and that's all I have on it. And each new radio interview that's created is, posted up in that next month's newsletter. So I still think there's a place for newsletters for getting out there and getting media, and I constantly look for new bloggers, new people who are doing magazines or online e-zines or whatever, and I add them to that database. I just keep adding them to that email base, so I'm constantly growing this massive and then every time somebody buys an album off me, and we've been doing direct selling with the Sou'westers album, so people are emailing me directly, putting the money in the bank account, and I'm sending them off the CD. So their emails I'm just putting into that database as well, so they're continually finding out what we're doing and keeping up with what we're doing. And I think, yeah, no, definitely email is still very much part of it. It's still a big part of it. It's still important to do that. Yeah, for sure, as well as your social media, and it can cross over to both because it posts, over as well. Hiya, Grant. I'll just see Grant.
Yeah, yeah, Grant is there. I think you're absolutely right, and email and email marketing is still alive and still valid to create this customer relationship management. The main point is that, and you mentioned it, to create a genuine and versatile email database. In fact, to go that, and this is the most important, because this is probably the sole topics who generate a lot of costs, and especially in time you may spend getting these emails and sending and preparing. But this is easier probably now with the email marketing, and for 10-15 years now, to create this particular newsletter, to send it and to correct and to amend everything that you can send, and you can engage and start. Because for sure a lot of people are having a Facebook profile and can see your post, but some have not.
Yeah.
In just a few, and especially particular demographics of your audience has no Facebook profile, no Twitter, no social media at all, but they are getting their emails. and this is extremely important, then you can drive traffic to your website instead of driving traffic to your Facebook page or your Facebook profile or something like that. That whatever, they are going to this to the website and can visit it. This is exactly the same thing. That was the most important question. We didn't know how to answer a few years ago, 2-3 years ago, with the biggest question on Facebook. Do we still need a website? And now we know that yes, especially for creating this strong customer relationship management and then engaging the audience, the website is becoming really the art of the customer relationship management. This is where you are concentrating all your action in the very beginning and the long-lasting engagement, then on the website and then in social media, as soon as your website is directly linked to your email marketing action, to your phoning action too, to your SoundCloud, as you mentioned, and to your social media. I want to say to the attendees that if you have some question to ask, use the chat room on the right. We're going to push it on the screen, and if you ask your question live, feel free to ask via the chat room on the right side. All right. So, email marketing, social media, website, and what about the how do you think a singer-songwriter can create the very beginning of customer relationship management live, as some said, in the real life? I mean, when you're acting in concert, when you have some press media or something, what is the main advice you can give to artists to complete the chain of creating this engagement and customer relationship
it's
management?
connecting all of them, isn't it, really? And I think that's, that's the thing, like you said, that very important thing, to look at social media as part of a strategy, not as a strategy itself. Always keep that in mind. So we're out at the live gig, give them something with your Facebook page on. Mention your Facebook page. Go to facebook.com/username, and if you haven't given yourself a username, give your page a username, so it's easy to go facebook.com/Ellie Cook Music, or just /Ellie Cook Music is me. That's enough for people to go, oh yeah. And like, I have an easy Twitter handle, it's Kiwi Ellie, so as long as they know that it's Ellie with a Y, they're away. And so, which can be confusing. So it's why it's good to have sort of something to hand out, or on your CDs, something as well. And so I think that's, you've got to tie all of the things together. You've got to make sure that that the Facebook activity is seen on your website by having a feed there, like we have on elliecook.com, because Phil builds, for those that don't know, Phil builds my website. So you can see who my friends are there. You can see what's happening on the feed. So keeping all of them working together, and that includes your print, your posters, getting QR codes onto your posters so somebody can whiz past it and stick their iPhone up to it and go, oh yeah, she's playing here. So all of that is kind of, it's integrating everything. It's making sure it's all connected. So that bricks and mortar stuff, live CDs, all of that needs to correspond across to social media and websites, and they all need to, no matter which way they find you, they're going to find everything. That's what you need. I see we've got a question there. Do you find it a better form of communication to actually speak to someone on the phone instead of email, Facebook, Twitter? Yep. When I want to make something happen, I pick the phone up. So if I really want to make something happen, and the bigger they get, the more likely you actually need to deal with them on the phone. And when they get really big, like when I'm dealing with Air New Zealand, I actually had to fly to Auckland and sit down with them, because it was a face-to-face. So definitely there's something to be said for talking to people on the phone, but you can certainly engage people in an email first. I've just had something happen from a radio interview where somebody's chased me down and made an offer from listening to me on a radio interview. It started with him chasing down my email address via my website, and then the first thing he did was give me his phone number and say, what's your phone number? I want to ring you. And so, so some serious communications, definitely the phone. And I've made things happen when, you sort of feel like, oh, this person probably gets too many people emailing, just pick the bloody phone up and actually go straight through to them. And some people that are quite big get quite a shock when you actually get through to them, because they don't expect that you're actually going to ring them up and go, oh, I want this actually, you know. Yeah, and then once then of course once they're stuck with me, they've got no chance of escape. So, because I don't take no for an answer.
That's absolutely important that we do not neglect the face-to-face meeting and the telephone. And the telephone is the very first medium and fully integrated in a cross-channel, cross-marketing action, you know, and strategy. This is extremely important to get people on the phone. And now with the tools as Skype and what about all the Visio phone we can have free of charge on a VoIP or something like that. As soon as you can have a direct contact, this is absolutely important, and this is probably the way to create the most easily the greatest return, because you have the direct contact. And for sure, for some reason, if you couldn't be in person in a face-to-face meeting at the same place because you're living in France and the other one is living in New Zealand, for example, that's easy to be in touch through Skype or something like that. Do not neglect this channel. That's a precious way to consolidate your customer relationship management and to start engaging, because as soon as you have the direct contact, you are directly in the engagement itself, because you know the person, you have seen it, you have seen this person is her, and then the reverse way is true too, because she or is seeing you, and this is extremely important. Don't forget that the multi-channel marketing is a huge contribution to start your strong customer relationship management. What about we talk about the crowdfunding, but because this is extremely important for artists right now. And we talk about crowdfunding in the very first seminar we did three weeks ago. What could be a customer relationship management strategy in the crowdfunding? Is it a good way to before the engagement itself, and how did you manage, especially for the latest album with the Sylvesters, when you crowdfund? What was the real voice of the customer you received, and how did you manage this customer relationship?
Well, we still are. So, I mean, it's interesting because we use two different platforms. So the platform that I used with Celiband was quite different to the platform with Indiegogo, a whole lot different. With Indiegogo, it's a fairly straightforward process of people advance buying the album, advance buying an album and a poster or whatever it is. Or a download. With Celiband, they became shareholders, so it was much more. I still like that model. I still like that model a whole lot. One is just advance selling, basically, which you could do through your website. Actually, you could advance sell an album through your website as well, but it's a nice platform to do it on that's set up. But certainly, you know, you're engaging those people, they're part of the process, whereas when it's like Celiband and they're actually on a shareholding of the album, then they really feel an attachment to it. It's actually customer relationships. It's more like investor relationships. With Celiband, it's more like customer relationships. With Indiegogo, it's kind of quite different. So definitely keeping up those people and making them feel like you know, they're part of the project, because they are. Because crowdfunding within indies, you know, I wouldn't have an album. I wouldn't be Female Country Artist of the Year without an album, and I wouldn't have had an album without those investors. So I really owe them everything. I owe them a career, and that's why I truly believe actually that crowdfunding is the way forward with the music industry, because not only does it actually offer fans an investment in the artist, but it offers them an ownership in the music. And right now, one of the big, things facing the music industry is that people have got used to downloading their stuff for free or ripping it off YouTube or whatever they're doing, and they're not buying your music, which has become a big thing. But when a fan has actually helped pay for that recording in a little tiny way and helped make that project happen, they have an ownership in it. So they don't want people to rip it off. They want people to buy it. And I think that that's one of the things of crowdfunding that's really, really good and really, really powerful, is that it does actually mean that there's ownership there from fan to musician. So there's a number of things. You have a street team that forms out of it, and you have and you have this customer relationship, investor relationship that happens between fan and artist. And I really think that it's just Amanda Palmer, who is one of the biggest crowdfunders from the Dresden Dolls, which was a big New York band. She raised over $1 million, and she did a TED talk. So look up Amanda Palmer TED talk crowdfunding. And she said it's about giving the customer a new way to buy music. That's what it is. It's like, and it's saying, how would you like to pay for the music? And she made an analogy from when she was a street performer with it, which was quite interesting. When she was a street performer busking, that it was how would you like to pay for me to perform? And so it's literally that. It's literally like busking on the World Wide Web, except they have an investment in it with Celeban, with other crowdfunding platforms like Indiegogo or Pledge Me. They don't have an ownership. It's simply an advance of a product or getting something for the money you put in. Yeah, but definitely that is a way forward. That is a way forward for the whole music industry, I think. If we had a cellar band that started up, that actually acted like a record company and actually promoted the acts that it actually crowdfunded on its platform, then would be the birth of a new record company.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a new way to buy music, as you said, and this is what Mr. Neg from Universal hasn't understood at all. But this is another story. Another question. Another question. Within various size, Quickstarter, Celebrand, and Indiegogo, how do you work out what level of investment you allow and what reward they get for that money?
Well, that is very much a personal choice of the artists. And some artists, I don't know, that I haven't looked into Kickstarter as much, so I can't really talk on that one. But I should actually go and have a look so I fully understand it. Celebrand, you can pick the percentage of sales of your net profit after your expenses are out, what that you're going to give your artist. On Indiegogo, you can choose, things. You can go, I'm going to make this DVD, or I'm going to make this CD, and if you want to download, it's going to cost you $10. If you want a CD, it's going to cost you 20, and if you want it signed, it's going to cost you 25, and if you want a poster with it, it's going to cost you 30, and if you want a T-shirt, it's going to cost you 100 or whatever. And so you can do. That's very much a personal choice as to what people do. Why I like the Celeban platform the most is that the artist, the people actually have an investment in the artist, and therefore if the artist takes off, that's what's going to happen. One of these days somebody's going to crowdfund something that's really going to nut off, and the people that have invested in it are going to make a lot of money. And when that happens, people will be diving for crowdfunding websites and looking for the next big thing that's going to do it. And so I think that is a model that if you took the Celeban model and you put it with the promotions and marketing of a record company, every successful artist on that, and you sold the CDs through that site and the downloads through that site, which Celeban doesn't do anymore. It's a straight crowdfunding platform. But I think if you made that whole crowdfunding thing more of a record company, that's the new model. In my opinion, that is the new model. So yeah, it's up to the individual is the answer to that question, Grant. So I should say grant because I know you're in Australia rather than grant. Yeah, anyway.
Is that answer to your question, Grant? I think so. What about the because we all talking, and this is the a kind of paradigm of the of Grant's question about the time we have to spend in customer relationship and more generally in marketing, because we're saying that we have to manage your social media, you have to manage your face-to-face meeting, we have to manage the creation and the sending of the an email marketing and etc etc etc, and with some inescapable channels as YouTube, as SoundClouds for the singer-songwriter. Uh, how can we simply explain that the customer relationship management for sure, but marketing in general is a long-lasting action with a few immediate return, and to really create this engagement, we need to spend time and not to let go and to continue action, even if there's just a few at the very beginning. What is the what could be, especially for artists, the way of encouragement and the right argument to say it will not be immediate, but continue your effort and go through that, it will pay at one day, because the payback is very long sometime, and especially with the crowdfunding, you don't get 20,000 bucks in 1 week or something like that. And we need to constantly, what could be this stronger argument to say marketing is a long-lasting action, do not expect a return immediately.
Yeah, well, it's a bit like farming, isn't it? If you're into farming trees, they take years to grow and cut down and sell for wood. And it's the same, it's the same. Return on investment is a long-term thing. If you think you're gonna make money in any business, you think you're gonna get in and make a quick buck, you're just not, unless you fall somehow over something that falls on its feet, or you have some big kind of investor jump in and give you a kickstart or what. You're just not gonna, it's not gonna work like that. Return on investment is a long-term strategy, and like, it's like what people sort of said this week, oh my gosh, you've got this thing with Air New Zealand, how have you done that? I said, I've worked for years to get into that company. It's like, it's not happened overnight, and it's continually working at it, and you have to time manage, and true. And I mean, with the music thing, as far as that goes, I'm not on every website, so I don't go for the kind of MySpace's Reverb Nation, anything like that anymore. I mean, it's people's personal choice, but I don't see a need for it. I've got a YouTube channel, a Facebook, a Twitter, and a website, and that's where everything that's where everything circles around, is the website in the middle. Because why do I want to distract them off to Reverb Nation, and what are the Reverb Nation charts? Who cares? I'd rather be spending my time emailing DJs going, have you got the CD? Have you added the track? Have you, I think that, your time's better spent on that, and better spent on designing up a nice email and building up your email database of media people, and people who blog, and people who write e-zines, and people on radio, so that you can get exposure. It's about being visual, and then about sharing that visualness on your social media. And then when you become more visual and you get bigger people talking to you, then the other people that are quite big think that they should maybe talk to you as well, because this person over here has. So it's a little bit of like, oh look, I got on such and such a show. And it's like, well, if I'm good enough to be on that DJ's show, then I'm good enough to be on yours. So it's a bit of a psychological game that you're playing with the media as well, with getting that exposure. Not so much customer relationships, sort of steering off the track. That's more relationship with the media. But it's kind of like, it's important to build customers, because exposure promotion equals customers. Then when you get them, it's a matter of keeping them with your product, which is a matter of finding the ones who are going to like your music and keeping them with you. Yeah.
I want to focus a little bit about about YouTube, because we know that every minute there's an uploading of 48 hours of videos and etc. etc. All major artists are on YouTube. Everyone's got a YouTube channel. Even teenagers are posting videos and creating a real engagement, especially on YouTube. And what it really now the power of video is totally proven, and for sure people are more fond of seeing a video, 2-minute video, or a video clip or something like that, instead of reading a book or just simply listening to music, because they are seeing the artist himself, and that's extremely important and extremely strong. That recording a video, posting on YouTube, promoting on other social media, putting the video, embedding it on the website. Again, this is a lot of time to spend on it. And how are you? What is the best way to manage a YouTube channel right now? Is it in posting regularly, or is it in, as you mentioned before, going back to old videos and reposting on usual social media, or re-embedding on the newsletter, for example, or something like that? What is the approach, the right approach you had and you have right now with your YouTube channel?
Okay, well, it's pretty much, for me, my YouTube channel is pretty much music videos. So it's music videos or live music videos of me. And again, that's a tool. Now, kind of important with the YouTubes is to remember that Mr. YouTube is owned by Mr. Google. So the Google ranking and the Google search engine is closely linked to YouTube. So one of the mistakes that people make is to not put enough tag words in and things like that. Remember that Google tag words are picked up by YouTube, and this is why YouTube's show in the top of your Google search. So when you put your video in, country artist, female artist, song about a sea, song about the storm, song about the wind, whatever it is, wind, sea, storm, like, make sure you get every conceivable word that somebody might be looking for to look for that piece of music. The other thing you can do is, in the top line of your YouTube, is put the URL of your iTunes. And then when it shows in the Google search, people will see that you're on iTunes. Psychological thing, she's on iTunes. So even though they can't click on that link in the Google search, as soon as they go to the YouTube, in the description, they'll see the iTunes link right up the top. So it's actually psychologically telling the person that's watching the video that you're on that you're on iTunes, and they're on their iPhone. They're going to go, oh, Ellie could go, yeah, right. So they like the video, they buy the thing. So it's like a, make sure you've got that. And so, yeah, lots of tag words in them. Post them around the place, embed them into your, what I quite often do rather than embedding is I'll get the video on a still where I like myself, and then I'll take a screenshot of that still, cut it out, save that photograph, and I'll put the screenshot of the YouTube into the newsletter, and then I'll embed the link. So when they click on that photo, boom, up comes YouTube on a separate page. So they don't, always make it open in a new window when you get that option with your newsletter or whatever, so that they don't lose your newsletter. They just open up a YouTube and it starts playing. So yeah, just spreading it out. And then with video, there's kind of two lines now, because there's also the Facebook video, which in a feed presents itself much bigger. So every music video gets uploaded onto YouTube, and it gets uploaded onto as a Facebook video, because in a news feed it will show much bigger. A Facebook video is much bigger than a YouTube video, so it's more visual, and then you get the Facebook engagement on it. Then interesting, what I did today is I was talking about going through and actually clicking on old photos, and go through the same, pull up all your old videos or your music videos and just click the like with another profile or something, and it'll just make it appear in the feed again, or say to someone, hey, can you just go through my videos, click on my albums, click videos, and just go through and click like on each of my videos. So you get your street team to do that, and bang, up into all their feeds, and all of a sudden you get activity on a music video that you shot and put up 3 years ago, because all of a sudden, bang, it's up into everyone's feeds. So that's a real key at the moment. That is a way to get things into feeds, because Facebook are trying their best not to put everything in the feed. They want you to pay for people to see it in their feed. So that's kind of like a way to you get and work with 2 or 3 people. Phil and I work together on things. We click each other's posts, same thing. So we just go through, click each other's photos, click the likes on each other's videos, periodically. And if you've liked it already, just unlike it and click like again. And so, bang, you've liked the video. Everybody that's ever engaged with that video gets a little message that pops up that says, Bill just liked Ali's video. So the other 104 people that have liked it over there, they get a whole new notification, and bang, they go, oh yeah, I remember that, and you've created all this activity. So YouTube in balance with Facebook video, I think, now as well, because you need this one for the Google search engine to find your way to your site or your iTunes. You need this one to get your social media engagement and to present itself in a bigger way, because people love visual, they love videos, they love photos. That's what they love.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why, because the two sides of the videos, YouTube and Facebook video too, because as you mentioned, YouTube is a large part of Mr. Google, and Facebook has dealt with Mr. Bing, Mr. Microsoft too, and this is another meta search engine that will index your video there on Facebook too. And this is very, very, very important. And we know now, and the Gartner Group, the research company, monitored exactly the way that when you are embedding some videos, whatever, on social media, on YouTube, on Facebook, or on your website, people stay and click and browse your site 5 times more than if you just put words. This is extremely important, extremely important. That means that you will reduce your bounce rate on your website. You will reduce exactly the same ratio in your YouTube, because as soon as you have seen the first video, you will, in 99.9% of the cases, you will click another, say, oh, I love that, and what else? And you click another video and search, simply Google it, Google the people you're looking for, and find the Facebook profile, and then you're creating the right circle to engage and to answer. But this is very important, and we're back to square one at the very beginning of this webinar. Don't forget to answer. This is extremely important, to answer each time somebody's posting. This is a long time, this is a hard work, but this is, again, the beginning of the engagement. And don't get me wrong, the goal is not just to engage. The goal is to generate profit.
Right.
I mean, the goal of marketing is not to just a view, is it to create business and profitable business. And then you can measure your real return on invest, because the marketing investment is a very huge investment, not especially in cash, but specifically in time, because we need to concentrate and to get time and to focus exactly on what you do. For sure, you can restrict the channel you are communicating with your audience and the way you are engaging. But I think that a multi-channel strategy on 2 or 3 channels are extremely important, and do not neglect at all the old-fashioned media, means face-to-face meeting. Each time you can do that, and the phone. The phone is extremely important. Even if you're calling the opposite side of the planet, we have all the tools right now, all the tools for free, for a large part, to communicate with your audience, whatever your audience is located. This is extremely important, and even in business to consumer activity, because you may be in touch with a guy in just close to you, and you can interact with him, and with someone as I said before, at the on the opposite way of the planet. And this is extremely important to be in touch and to see each other. This is the first thing. Even if you can be in person, you can have some face-to-face meeting with the tool of the 21st century. This is extremely important. But just 10 minutes to go, Harry, and what could be the main topics of this first webinar about customer relationship management and in the engagement of the audience? What the attendees have to keep in mind for life, according to you?
I think really valuing the people that make it happen, you know, your customers, and in my case that's fans and people who like my music and buy my music, is really valuing them. Now in my case, because I'm a crowd-funded artist, I value them totally, and I wouldn't have a career without them because they funded my albums. And so it's, you know, it's great. And I think you just have to keep that relationship up, and even, you know, the amount of people that I have met now. The last time I was in Sydney, people turning up who are on my Facebook page that I am meeting for the very first time at the gigs. That's really exciting, that I've started to see that actually happen. I've started to see people walk up to me when I play going, I'm on your Facebook page, I'm such and such. And I'm like, oh my gosh, hi, you know, like, and you sort of feel like they're an old mate. But that is basically ROI. When they turn up and they pay, which I did have in Sydney, that's return on investment. They've turned up, they've paid to come to my gig and watch me sing live, and they are people I have met online. And that's, you know, and that's coming more and more. And that's great, because we need people to still go out and watch live music and not be stuck in front of their computer the whole time. So it's good to see that engagement happen. And it will happen, that, you know, the more you build your base up, and that's what you need to keep doing. And this is why I carry more than one profile, because I have one profile full of 5,000 people that are now on subscribers. You know, they subscribe, so it's more than 5,000. But I have the other profiles, and I periodically go through the who you might know basket, and I add people. I just go, I'm going to add 10 people now, and I set myself a little task, and I go and invite 10 people to join each profile. I don't overdo it. And then I find every time I do that, a few more invites come in, and I grow those other two profiles. So I've got one profile now at nearly 3,000, and one profile approaching 700, my newer one. And so I'm just gradually growing those people, and then periodically I go through and invite them to my pages, Ellie Cook Marketing, Ellie Cook Music, and I'm growing my page, and I've got them all on a profile. So when I have a gig, I can go, oh, invite everybody in Sydney. Bang. You know, and I've got 3 profiles full of them, because you can't invite people from a page to a gig, but you can invite them from a profile to a gig. So, you know, that's why build profiles up big and build pages up big, because a profile, a Facebook profile, there is so much more you can do with those people than on a page, which is why I have more than one profile. And if I have people that are across all 3 profiles, then I tend to try and, you know, get them off literally, and just try and I try to invite, when I go and invite a new friend, when it has suggest a friend, I see if my other profiles have got them, because I don't want people I've already got. I want new people all the time. I want to make sure that the 10 new invites to each profile that I do are not on the other 2 profiles, are not on my page. I want new people. So all the time it's like growing more people. And so, and that's what's brought me the cross marketing things. That's what's brought me the other products and people that have wanted to work with me. It's because they know when I post something across my networks, it's across thousands of people. So, you know, you become the bigger you grow, the more powerful kind of database of social media you have. And then it's good to do contras for the things that you need from companies, which is cross marketing, you know. which we covered in our other seminar, which is on the campus if you want to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right, and the main thing you have to keep in mind, everyone, is to don't give up. Marketing is a long-term strategy and actions. You won't have an immediate return. You don't have anything the day after, but the day after it will comes up, and the return will be there for sure as soon as you using simply common sense, and then especially with customer relationship management. This is not because we call it customer relationship management that the relationship with the people you're exchanging with is fully different than the way you're exchanging in your life daily. This is exactly the same thing, and at this level, marketing is as simplest as that. Use common sense, don't give up, maintain your effort, and then you will succeed, I'm sure. We're at the end of this webinar number 3. Don't forget to, and keep in mind, you can get the replays on the campus. You have the URL here, and as I mentioned, for $10 you can have the full day, and there's many options if you want to review the previous webinar. So go through, visit the futuresentertainment.net site. This is the same site, and the campus is there. Don't forget to visit alicook.com and alicookmarketing.com also, and then PHMC Group if you want to do something. And for any question, any specific topic, and anything you may need in marketing, feel free to contact us by email, by telephone, on social media. Give us a small post, and post on our timelines or whatever, or send us a mail, and we will answer your question, or create a webinar with a specific and dedicated topic you want to see, and you want to learn about.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you very much, Ali.
And thanks for joining.
We're gonna. Yes, thanks for attending the this third webinar of a very long series. And next week at the same place, the same time for this webinar number 4. All right. So have a very good day, very good night in New Zealand and Australia, and get you next week. Bye. See you back.
Bye.